The Secret Quest series is very different from other Gnostic documentaries or films that have been made because it was made by Gnostics. This is quite unique. It gives it a completely different perspective.
Traditionally, people that have spoken about Gnostics or Gnosticism haven't been practicing Gnostics.
This is a movie where Gnostics can speak for themselves.
Where Gnostics have explained the Christian tradition from a Gnostic point of view.
Those of us who actually practice Gnosis can bring a different angle to it, an angle that historians, theologians, and religious people can't.
Unless somebody's really trying to walk the spiritual path or live the Gnostic teachings, then they're not really in a position to describe or explain what the Gnostics are really about.
One of the important things about the Secret Quest series is that the Gnostics presenting it are presenting it primarily from an angle of practical experience. And this is very different from most presentations of Gnosticism previously, where it's purely from an historical or theological point of view.
Throughout history, Gnostics have always been written about or spoken about, but because they were persecuted, their own perspective and side of the story didn't really come across through history.
The people persecuting the Gnostics, perhaps they don't have a full understanding of what the Gnostics were really about, because they're not actually practicing any of the teachings of the Gnostics. They're not actually experiencing what the Gnostics are experiencing. And so what you have is a history of Gnosticism based on the point of view of those people who disagree with what the Gnostics are teaching.
So the Secret Quest series is a very important film that is being presented to the public at large, because it's opening up information that hasn't been readily accessible to the general public before. So this is a unique situation, and it's a very important film because of that.
It sets straight who the Gnostics are and what the Gnostic teachings are really all about.
The Secret Quest series contains a history of Gnosticism and its practices and the purposes of it.
The Secret Quest outlines the Gnostic teachings and is really an introduction for those people who are interested in Gnosticism.
The Secret Quest series enables people to understand quite simply, really, the fundamentals of esoteric psychology and early Christianity.
So the Secret Quest series gives people an overview of Gnosis, gives an overview of the history, gives an overview of the texts that are studied, whether they're ancient or modern. It gives an overview of what really sets it apart from religious belief, what makes it different and unique.
It sheds a light on the reason for Jesus being alive, the purpose of his existence, the purpose of the events that he went through.
And you can understand how Christianity and Gnosticism are actually compatible.
The basic practices are explained very simply.
The practices that are used to attain knowledge, to attain Gnosis, to attain personal experience and personal contact with the divine.
You're able to get an idea now of what needs to be done in order to walk the spiritual path
and carry out a spiritual transformation. One of the key messages of the Secret Quest series is that Gnosis is not consigned to history.
The Gnostic teachings are living teachings, and they appear throughout time in different cultures and presented in different ways.
The Secret Quest series teaches people what in the Gnostic movement is referred to as the three fundamental keys to self-realization or spiritual liberation.
If you practice these techniques, you can be a Gnostic too. By practicing the techniques correctly, you have the tools and the methods to attain this secret knowledge and to walk the path
The secret quest is really about discovering and walking the spiritual path for yourself. That's what this series of films will introduce anybody who watches it to, is the Gnostic approach, the Gnostic aim to transform oneself spiritually through the spiritual path. The Secret Quest series outlines the basis of the Gnostic esoteric work and enables those who are wanting to take up these teachings further to do that.
It's there and it's being made accessible for people that are searching for, key fundamental or answers to fundamental questions about life and about religion, about who they are and their position in the world and so on.
Anybody who wants to take up this search for true knowledge about themselves can enroll to do the free courses offered by the Gnostic movement,
which really take people really through all the practices that are mentioned in this series so that you can learn how to carry them out for yourselves and get your own experience.
This series of films, it's really just a starting point where you can open yourself to the ideas that are being presented and then find where to go from there. And that's really about pursuing that direct experience for yourself of the divine within and beyond.